recording. Guys, today we have the honor to have Levon as a speaker. Levon is working in Agritech startup called Arable. I will ask Levon to represent the startup, his experience, and this is one of the unique sessions during which we discuss specifically Agritech topics. So this is your chance to learn and expand your network. Feel free to use the chat and other methods to share your comments and ask your questions. Please be active as you do usually.
Okay, great. Yeah. No, thanks again for inviting me, Anna. I'm really excited to meet all of you and to bounce some ideas around and just to talk about our different experiences working in agriculture and agriculture technology. I can give sort of a little bit of a background about myself to begin, and then I can talk a little bit more about Arable's work and kind of what my role is there, and yeah, just what I've seen, and we can then have sort of an open discussion maybe, and I can learn a little bit more about your projects, and yeah, we can talk to each other a little bit more about what we're excited about in this field. So yeah, my background sort of revolved around learning a little bit more about agriculture towards the end of my time in undergrad at UC Berkeley. And then right after graduating, I got really interested in farming and wanted to sort of pursue sort of on-farm, hands-on experience. I ended up farming outside of the Bay Area in a couple different locations, one in Petaluma, and then I also went to Germany back in 2014. And upon returning, I started my own farm here in the Bay Area, which is like a small chili pepper farm. And I did that for a couple of years, and still had an interest in technology. I was also working at Google at the time in 2016. And then I had the opportunity to join Arable and really sort of combine these interests of agriculture and technology back in 2017. So I've been with the company that I'm currently with now since then. My role has changed a little bit since I joined the company. I was initially hired to start the customer success team. So really trying to drive value for the customers once they've already purchased the product, which I'll get into in more details. But it ended up being that, I'm working so close with the product experience and trying to find ways that we could actually improve the product to drive that value and make it more useful to the growers that we were working with. That over the past year, I've slowly transitioned to doing more of a product management role. So that's what I do there now. So what does Arable do? We make an in-field crop sensing device. So the device is about, I wish I had one with me. You can easily see it on our website. It's about this big. It sits on a pole above whatever crop you're growing. And it's collecting 40 different data streams regarding key metrics around crop growth, crop health, and yeah, just the key drivers of success for a successful crop. And these kind of, I can go into specifics if you guys have more questions about it, but basically, we're measuring climatic factors like weather, temperature, humidity, rainfall, and then we're also doing derived measurements that come from spectral bands such as an NDVI, chlorophyll index, and then there are other readings we can get off those spectral sensors as well that growers use to make sort of management decisions. We work with a lot of different customers. Probably some of the groups you've spoken to in the past sort of zero in on one segment, corn in the Midwest or soy in the Midwest. We take a broader approach. We do work with those kinds of growers, but we also work with sort of specialty growers in the wine industry. We work with seed breeders and also like ag research stations that are trying to understand. They have different experiments around variations of different plots of land. so yeah, our customer base is pretty diverse, and have different needs, and we've tried to create a product that can be sort of the best measure of crop growth drivers, and also crop health. Yeah, so that's kind of a really high level overview of what Arable does. I'm really interested to talk to you guys more about any problems you're working on in Armenia and elsewhere. I'm interested to learn a little bit more about what kinds of ag tech solutions you guys are working on. The field is super broad right now. We're kind of in the remote sensing space, but there's so much work being done on supply chain tech, irrigation, things on the breeding side. Yeah, so there's a lot. It's an exciting time to be in the field. And then yeah, I'm happy to talk more about things I've learned while being at the company for 3 years. Just in terms of like working at a startup, and then also just working in the field and really engaging with our customers. Yeah, I've got to meet some pretty interesting people along the way. So yeah, Anna, maybe it's good if we, had a couple people share some of the projects, or we can open it up for a little bit of a discussion. Maybe a couple people can post questions in the chat, and we can kick off a discussion there. Like, I'd just love to learn maybe like what 3 or 4 of you are working on, just to learn if there's any like crossover in terms of the like ag intelligence, like remote sensing space, or if the kinds of projects you guys are working on are kind of different. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Gevorg, so I'm one of the participants. Basically, our team working on the vertical farm, but wanted to be a bit change the structure of the vertical farm and get chance people to grow something, at apartments or in the villages. They have a free space, and now it's modern that everyone wants to grow something for their own. For example, it can be tomatoes or some lettuce or basilic, something. It's no matter what, but when people growing by themselves, it's like, I don't know, it's interesting, it's more tasty, that it's clear organic product. And basically our idea is to give people the chance to create a vertical farm at their home in just a small space, just in a room or, shelf, something like that.
Cool, that's great. And what kind of tools are you providing to help with that, or what's the? Are you providing the actual like infrastructure for people to start their own vertical farm, or is it more sort of like a guidance and consulting?
No, yeah, we're gonna provide everything. Like, they just need to tell us the sizes, and we'll provide the software as well that will take care about the lighting, about the water use and temperature. We just need to know the sizes, and people just need to request, and like we'll tell the pricing for them for exactly that space. Our idea is that, and we can like continue working on taking care about the devices, checking from time to time how the system works, how the software works.
Yeah, that's a really interesting kind of model, sort of like the in-home vertical farm. I haven't heard of anyone trying to do that yet. Could you give me a sense of like, I'm just curious how like big are these things? Like, do they go in like people's bedrooms, or is it something that's more like you would put on a balcony, or like how? Yeah, what's the story where it's deployed?
Yeah, the purpose was that many people now, not only in the apartment but also in the villages, they have some free spaces or just free shelves that they can use. And in most time they just leave or I don't know, keep something unusable at home. Instead,
Yeah.
they can make green, like legal at home, and
Hmm.
this is something they can be proud that they are growing something at home, really
Yeah,
clean. This is not about the quantity. This is about like satisfaction. And
I see. Yeah. Do most of the people that you think you'll work with initially, like, you're going to probably have a set of early adopters, people that you're going to reach out to initially to prototype for you. Are these people mostly home gardeners, or what kinds of people? Have you thought about what kinds of people you would?
honestly, I can tell my parents had tomato grow the tomato, and they were so proud about that. That
Uh,
every time we went there, there were just a couple of tomato, but they were so proud that they grow
yeah,
the tomato at home. That mind came to me that we can do that, and we can give a chance people to grow everything, something for themselves. It's no matter. For example, they even can grow the basilic, which is pretty expensive, and at home space they can get pretty high like percentage of
I,
production, and even if they will not use whole amount, they can start to sell. They can, I don't know, they can make not cooperative, but they can connect with couple of people who are growing at home and make some quantity that they will be able to sell, even in that perspective.
yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, you're kind of trying to enable a set of home gardeners to become kind of like, either they can share it or sell it, or they'll become entrepreneurs in their own way.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any plans to try to expand out of the home garden market? Like, what if, say, like, I don't know, some of the universities or like businesses want to have these grown in their own offices, or in other contexts as well? Would you think about, like, I guess, like, yeah, broadening out from?
Honestly, I didn't think about that before, but as you told, it's really nice idea, and really the office is like everyone now trying to be organic, now trying to be close to the nature, and I think that's
Yeah,
really great idea that offices in Armenia, and not only in Armenia, like worldwide, will maybe with a great pleasure will use that kind of technique in their offices.
yeah, yeah. I'd love to learn at some point. It doesn't have to be now. I'd love to learn more about the actual technology, like how you put these kits together. Like, how did you develop them, or how did you develop the software? Or what sort of ideas are you thinking to use in the software? I guess to like really engage people.
Uh, Basically, the technique of vertical farming are well known in worldwide, and like mainly the developed countries using that. And there were some countries that used the elevator free space in order to grow. But I think the technique must be developed just a bit, because the concept will be bit like small concept of the general vertical farms. Uh, I believe in that idea, and honestly, I wanted to have one for myself. That's why I think that can be something might change something new in our life.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And just, yeah, maybe lastly, like, are you also providing the inputs, like the seeds and any kind of like fertilizer or
Yeah,
kind of kits? Yeah.
for sure, for sure. This is in idea phase now, but
Okay.
for sure we're gonna supply everything, like what they will need, even everything, the filters, I don't know, the pumps, everything they will need, the seeds, even
Yeah.
the system that if they will need something to replace, if they will uh, have some their personal, I don't know, wants, how they maybe they want to have something bit different that we're offering them. We can offer the
Mhm.
services, and the basic idea is if the consumer coming to us, he should receive anything that he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also curious to learn a little bit about the business model. Like, will you have people on sort of like a one-time purchase, like they'll buy the whole kit and then that comes with a certain set of services, or is it like they'll buy the kit and then there'll be like a subscription to seeds and inputs and maybe consulting services or something like you guys
Yeah,
can come out with things? Yeah.
for sure, we need to take care about the customers for a long term period because
Mhm.
first of all, if we will buy the seeds in a big amount, like in wholesales, we'll receive with a less. We will need to spend less money on that. We will be able to provide the higher quality for our customers, and not every customer needs to know. Like, we need to read a lot about seeds, what kind of seed will work there or not. Instead, they just can trust us, they can ask us, and we will provide everything. The most important, I think, for a company is a good relationship, the goodwill between the company and the customers. That's making the value of the company, basically.
No, totally. Yeah, I completely agree. I think you're going to learn a lot with your initial users, like the initial people that you deploy with. Once your whole product is ready to launch, those first few, you have your parents, but then you're going to expand out and try to sell to people in different regions. I think keeping that channel open of like hearing their feedback in the early days is going to be super valuable. Try to get them to talk to you as much as possible about like what could have been easier or harder about what could have been just smoother in terms of the install process and getting set up. Oftentimes that's like a big barrier I've seen for these kind of like home garden projects or like sort of like home hobby farmers. They think that there's like a really big barrier to just grow a tomato in their house, but if you can kind of like make that easier for them, and like sort of like take control of that a little bit better, that's probably going to help you a lot. And they're going to provide all sorts of feedback to you about things you didn't even think of. So yeah, just encourage you to sort of keep that conversation up. It's cool. Well, yeah, really nice to hear about that, Gabor. Yeah,
Thanks.
let's all I mean, this goes for everybody, but let's connect and stay in touch afterwards. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we can hear from someone else too. So we've got someone in the vertical farming space. Is there anybody working with like broadacre crops or, I'm also curious if anyone's doing any greenhouse work or, any other kind of, ag tech. Anyone working with animals?
Could you please tell me something about tissue cultured plants?
Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Something about tissue culture?
Yes, micropropagation of apple or bananas.
Okay. Yeah, tell me more. So you guys are sort of like you taking the culture of the fruit or a mature plant and then growing it in cells?
Correct.
Okay, great. What's are you working with a university or research group or?
Yes, I'm working with a university in India.
Okay.
Yeah, so we produce the plantlets in the laboratory and then give it to the university's horticulture department.
Okay, great. And this is kind of how you're getting, I'm vaguely familiar with this idea, but is the purpose of the work to have sort of like the starts of a new plant? Like you'll take, like, let's go through an example maybe. So like you'll take
one cell of the plant, it multiplies.
Mm-hmm.
So we are using the theory of micropropagation of making multiple plants.
Yeah.
In shortest possible time, and those plantlets become disease-free also.
Okay.
And we can continue it round the year. So that's more on saving on cost as well as time.
Yeah, great. Um, why did you choose apples and bananas? Are these expanding, is there sort of like I mean, I would think you probably can, uh, yeah, get a lot of more sort of field ready starts there, with those, and maybe they're difficult to grow from seed or from, well, actually, apple you would graft it, but yeah, I've actually never had experience growing the banana tree.
In India, it is very popular because it
Hmm.
is a very commercially viable fruit.
Hmm.
Demand is also on a very higher side.
Uh-huh.
So we are able to reduce the gestation period.
Okay.
So traditional farming, traditional cultivation of banana is getting replaced with tissue culture.
Great. And is this sort of new research or a new approach being taken, or how long
Yes,
have you been involved in this?
yeah, it's been going on since last 6-7 years,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and it's very very viable, very lucrative.
Okay, great. Have you sort of followed the whole cycle through? Have you been able to see, how these plants have performed in the field after, you've grown them out in the lab, or do you guys have your own research station or a place where you guys are,
Yes, the
sort of.
university, yeah, the university has a department. So the
Mhm.
entire cycle of plantation is getting reduced from 11 months to 7 to 8 months.
Okay, great. Um, and then, yeah, I guess, do you see yourself trying to have a spin-off, or what's your path? Are you thinking to stay in university, and how will you guys get this solution out to, I guess, the market or the industry over there in India?
Yes,
Um,
as of now, we are using it in the domestic market, but we have plans to start export also, because exporting the entire plant is very difficult, but exporting a small cell in a kind of small bottle is very very easy.
mhm.
So tissue cultured cells are easily export also.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious, like, how fragile they are when shipping. Like, I'm guessing they need to be kept in some temperature range, or have you guys tried doing any of that before? Uh,
So the
yeah.
university has tried it in Middle East. So
Hmm.
I'm also developing a project with uh, Agritech also. So we are planning to send it to African countries.
Okay. Yeah, because of basically the crops being fitting in Africa, or um, yeah, like what's driving what's driving the strategy for where you'll ship them, and
Um,
how you'll expand?
Africa always has food insecurity.
Hmm.
So maybe some kind of exchange or the export is going to help them.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's a host of ways we could help over there. Yeah, we have a few customers as well in Tanzania and Kenya. Um,
Yeah. And good quality of fruits cells can also be sent from one country to another country. That's another objective.
yeah. Okay. Um, have you, I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you're sort of tracking, uh, I guess, the success of, like, the crops once they're fully grown out from the tissue culture, and like,
Yeah.
do you have
I,
any stories of growers who have, like, now been able to, you know grow a new field, or who, previously, weren't able to enter the market because the cost of grafting was too high? Or, yeah, are there any, like, I guess, like, user stories of how tissue culture has helped them in their livelihood in some way?
I'll send a copy of my project report to
Okay,
you.
that'd
So
be great.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll.
Sorry, I'm getting hit with a little bit of a sunbeam here. It's still early in the morning, so sun's still coming out here in California.
I'll
Yeah.
share my report with you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks. Yeah, well, really, that's a, yeah, completely different project from the first one. But yeah, kind of still trying to address food security and expanding the time it takes to grow your own food. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, anyone else want to jump in? Is anyone working on sort of more of a purely software based tool, or something that's like, I guess like not necessarily. Yeah, okay. Nelly? Something?
Yes, sorry. Okay. I represent a Linel platform. Our solution is an e-commerce platform for agricultural trade between direct trade between the businesses and individuals and farmers. We connect businesses with farmers and provide direct delivery of agricultural production through our distribution hubs located in different regions of Armenia. So our product is a combination of an e-commerce platform, a CRM solution, and a GPS-enabled vehicle fleet system.
I didn't catch the last thing. It's GPS enabled. What was it?
Vehicle fleet system.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
To provide the complete traceability of orders and so on. Yes, and we have like 2 domains. One is B2B, when the businesses, and namely the focus is on HoReCa sector, hotels, restaurants and cafes, retailers, and the food production factories. When they make their one-time or recurring orders and get product delivered directly to them within a specified number of hours, and from this transaction and from these orders we expect to have transaction fees. But at the same time, we solve the problem, the existing problem in Armenia and in many developing countries, which is a very small profit share of farmers in this trade because of many agents, middlemen, retailers and so on. So, and we have the second part, which is B2C, when farmers sell directly to individuals. These can be urban citizens or tourists, which are like close to some villages and so on. And so this is from these transactions, we don't expect any profit. The main point is social impact. When farmers can sell more, get access to more markets. So that's it.
Okay, great. Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about, I guess, first, the existing infrastructure. So you guys built an e-commerce tool. It's a web platform, I'm guessing, that the growers can log into, and so can the buyers. And you mentioned something about distribution houses. So you guys already had this kind of infrastructure, or you're currently trying to build it?
We don't. We have a big part of the software developed.
Okay.
But the project is not launched yet, so we are going to launch it in in one region and then expand.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah, that's
yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
now we are just finalizing the integration of these products and all the stuff.
Okay. So it seems like the main problem you're trying to address is like basically Armenian farmers not getting enough money for their produce. Like by the time they go through all the hoops and the produce reaches the market, they're seeing too small of a fraction of the profits from this direct sell. So B2C makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's something we've seen here. If the growers can work directly through like a farmer's market, or they can find some ways to cut out the middlemen. How do you see that also working in the B2B area? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about how, like, let's say I'm an Armenian farmer and I want to sell on your platform. Is it more like, okay, I have like a stable place to sell my produce. I don't need to put it on the open market and get into these sort of like, I guess like fluctuating bidding, arrangements, or like, is there any advantage from like a pricing standpoint for the Armenian farmer in the B2B model that you're thinking?
Yes, as this all cohort of middlemen will be eliminated, which are, according to our surveys, like more than 4 or 5. So farmers' profit will definitely increase, and we will engage more farmers who have no access to markets because of logistics and other issues. So we are going to provide the pickups.
Okay.
Production. Yes, for businesses we offer a stable and reliable tool. We expect to give them price benefit as well. As all these middlemen will be eliminated, the price will definitely decrease. And we offer them reliability, stability, some loyalty policies when they will be awarded, and so on. And they could focus on their core business instead of all this procurement stuff and so on.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And we think we see this. We hope our view is real, but a huge part of agricultural trade in Armenia is out of legal zone, out of taxation system. And because of high VAT, many countries have decreased their VATs for agricultural trade, but not Armenia. So the huge part is out of taxation zone. So we think our product is also attractive for the state, because this can also, all this trade can be automated, and this can cause further state control and further taxation, increase in taxation.
Yeah, that's great. Couple of things that stuck out. One, you have a real opportunity when you're cutting down these like transactions and like linking growers to buyers. There's probably, I don't know how big the food waste problem is in Armenia. It's pretty big here in the States. And like globally, it's like 1/3 of all food produced is getting wasted before it's, it's getting wasted before being consumed. And in different parts of the world, if the supply chain breaks at different places. So, food can be wasted in the field because it's never harvested, or it's wasted in storage, or it's wasted like here in the States, it's usually making it to people's fridge, or they'll buy too much and then it's just thrown out. So sorry about that. And so, one really I think like key area that you guys could do to, convince either the state or other groups to support you is also say like, we're going to work on cutting down food waste. That's maybe another area that might, increase the value prop. Another thing I wanted to tell you, like there are a couple of groups here that might just be worth looking into how they do this. I think what you guys are trying to do is try to provide like a real end-to-end solution. It's like you want to connect people, but then you also want to like make sure things, you mentioned that there's like a fleet management tool. I want to learn a little bit more about that. But yeah, afterwards, I'd be happy to share some groups in the States that are working on sort of similar projects to help with the problem. Like there are a few here in the Bay Area that work on somewhat similar things. Like the problems are different there in Armenia, but end of the day, it's end of the day,
that is what I was going to ask, if you can share some information, because yes, we are doing the study, but like it's better if you can share some information.
Yeah, no, totally. There's a number of, I can put together a list of like some startups, and some have had a lot of success, and then I'd suggest like really looking into the ones that have struggled. There's some, just so you can learn from their mistakes. I think it's really easy to approach this problem. It's like, okay, the Armenian farmer isn't getting paid enough for their produce, and then you can build a lot of, you can get sort of caught up in like too many like feature add-ons instead of like just trying to focus and do one thing really well. It's always a trade-off. I guess just lastly, before we move on, could you tell me a little bit about the GPS and fleet tool you mentioned? I'm pretty curious about that because at Arable, we also have to do a lot of like, it's more like IoT device fleet management, but I'd be curious to learn more about how you'll manage.
I would be happy to send you some detailed information if you
great.
don't. Yeah,
that'd be great.
I will.
Yeah, let's talk after. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, thanks. Okay, anybody else want to jump in? Still got another 50 minutes, so lots of fun stuff to talk about. Every project has been great so far. I'm gonna try to close my blinds real quick while you guys decide who's up next. Didn't work. I'm gonna come over to this side. So we had 2 from Armenia, 1 from India. Anyone else want to jump in? I'd be curious to learn about how you guys are pursuing investment as well. If anybody wants to speak about that, how they want to take their business to the market, what sort of support you guys are looking for. It's not really something we've touched on too much yet. It seems like you guys are getting a lot of support from FAST, so that's great.
Mm. I have one question. If we can.
Sure.
So basically, I think one of the difficult part will be for us to go from the local sizes go to international size. For example, to present our idea worldwide. What can you suggest? How can we do that? And like the best ways or experience that we can do it.
So basically, just so I understand the question correctly, it's like to go from like you're expanding out of Armenia to providing a tool that can be used in other countries as well.
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the main thing you should try to focus on is having, like in the early days, like having people just really love your product, and like really, like you need to build the best product you can so that people in Armenia swear by it and like really love the system. And that's the challenge. I think is it's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen. I mean, that's the thing in ag tech. It's like the cycle is really slow compared to like other technology groups or sectors. There's more time to iterate, whereas it takes farmers and home gardeners in your case longer to really go through the whole growing season. So finding that feedback, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be super important for you guys to improve the product in the early days. I think for you guys to scale outwards, it could happen a couple ways, right? Like you could find some really interesting partnerships in other countries, and maybe other countries are also looking for this sort of solution, and you could find some distributors or people who are already involved in agriculture, the home gardening market in other countries, like here in the States or neighboring countries or what have you. And they could basically say, all right, let's start a partnership, and then we'll help promote your solution that way. That's one thing we've seen, and one thing we've kind of lacked even at times is, if we want to sell into a new market, like we're a 35-person startup, and if we were to want to provide an optimal like end-to-end solution in a new country, there's a bit of it where it's like we're going to send a device to a place and it's going to work, and the grower is going to be able to see everything that any American grower will see on our platform. But in terms of like customer success and customer support, it's a lot harder to serve those markets and like really drive the value and like get feedback from the growers without having like boots on the ground. That's really where you benefit from like a partnership or some sort of connection to someone who can do the work for you in that country. Another way it can scale is if you just completely saturate the market in Armenia with these things and people love it, and then people who travel come and see it and they're like, oh, we want one of these too. And then that's like another way I see that it could work out well. But you're probably going to have to try to do both.
Yeah,
good question.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, any other questions or projects? See a few people we haven't heard from. Are you guys doing anything? I'd love, maybe, if no one else wants to share yet, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your work with the group and what kinds of things you guys are doing to support each other or to, bounce ideas off of each other. What have you found, helpful so far? Because you guys have like a network of people that are working on, pretty different projects. What are the common threads that you guys are seeing across projects. It's like one person can be working in university in a setting which is, it's a lab setting, and someone else is trying to create software, someone else is trying to create infrastructure for the home gardener. Are there any like common themes you guys are seeing, or common problems that you guys are helping each other with?
Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm Christian Rurangwa. I'm
Hey.
from Rwanda, in Africa.
Okay, great.
Yeah. My project is called Opina.
Opina?
Yeah, in full words, it is opportunities in agriculture.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have background in agriculture and business studies. So just to live my passion, I entered in agribusiness. I found there are many problems, and I tried my best just to search for a solution. Like in Rwanda, we have unused farmland. Where our farmland, it is about 21% of our farmland are not in use. So when I look in Africa, about 60% of our farmland in Africa, they are not in use. So I came up with a solution, which is a web platform in which farmland owners come and then submit their farmland to us. And then for us, we use it. And then we sell our production to the agro-processors, because we have a high cost of imports, where agro-processors used to buy their raw materials at high level. Like an example, for those agro-processors who process the cereals, in order to work on daily basis, they used to import up to 40% of their raw materials. You see, there is a big gap. So we are working to increase the production in the country, and then so that we may add on for what we have here in Rwanda. So it is not the only the case that we have as unique in Rwanda. It is wherever in Africa, like African Development Bank say that the bill for Africa, for the bill of food in Africa will raise up to 110 billion USD by 2025. So you see, it is a serious problem. We came up with that web platform, which is helping us just to recruit farmers, and also to have those unused farmland in order to make it use. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, thanks a lot. I'm super interested to learn more. What were the raw materials that you mentioned? I kind of missed that part. Like, what are the main things that you guys are trying to produce there now instead of importing?
Yeah, thank you. We are working just to cereals. We are focusing on maize and soya, and
okay.
Then fruits and vegetables, they are relative, but mainly we are focusing on maize and soya, because huge one.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Makes sense. So yeah, that's really interesting about how your task is kind of to connect this network of people who want to farm with landowners. Is that how you see it? Like there are these people who own unused land, and there's growers that could potentially expand their production. Do you see there needing to be? Do you see this as sort of like a one-to-one relationship between them, or is there sort of like, I'd love to learn a little bit more, like in your ideal, once this product is launched, like what do you see as like a success story? Like what do you see as like the end product? Is it that, okay, a landowner is able to put his land on your platform, and then a young farmer or someone who's trying to expand their production goes onto the platform and can connect with that person? Or yeah, I'd love to learn a little bit more just about how the yeah, how you would see the product being like really successful.
Just you see, it was just to tell you in short, but we have
Mhm.
several, we have many ways to just to work with those farmers, those farmland owners. As long as he's a
Okay.
farmland, he has a farmland. At the same time, he has some skills, but he wants to work with us because we have a good team, and
Uh-huh.
as long as he needs to just to increase his production.
Okay.
You see, for example, if I give you an example, here in Rwanda, I will give you a case in Rwanda and in Africa. In Rwanda, we are using technology up to 7%, sorry, 3% of our farmers use technology. You see, like irrigation, the take part in Rwanda just in agriculture, it is not very, it is very low. I give
Yeah.
you that example. They are up to 3%, which means even the production is not good on the per hectare. It is very low. So as long as you are a farmer, you want us to work with you by increasing your production. We can reach on you, and then we look the way to increase your production, but we look the way to sign some contract. We look the way to work together with you. In Africa, it is 7%. You see, still there is that depending on season, climate, which is not on our side. So we are using that. We are approaching those farmland owners, and then we look the way to work with them in order to increase the production. And yeah, I think if
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you're really going to be doing a lot more like consulting almost, right? Would you say like you guys are going to be providing some services and also like I'm guessing you'll need to help provide recommendations around how they can be more efficient to increase, their production levels, whether it's like bringing in different irrigation systems or probably something relating to like fertilizer and disease, pest management. Do you see yourself working in that, helping out on those fronts as well?
Yeah, it is good. That part, as long as you're a startup, we are just focusing on using those unused farmland. And those, when we are discussing with owners, there are some who come and say, for me, I just want to work with you without just giving you my farmland, but I want just to increase my production. There it is where we can it is where it is there just we sit with him or her, just we discuss the way to work with him. We have that challenge, of course, as we are a startup. We are facing some challenges because fertilizers are very expensive. That
Yeah.
machinery still it is a problem. It is not very easy. Like I can give you an example where using just tractors, the tractors when you are cultivating an hour on it is about 100 USD. It is about 100 USD. You see, the cost is very high, and the cost of when the cost of production is high, the cost of product is high. So we are facing that challenge of having the, 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 the those things that you tell me we are facing them. So if you have like connections with those company who has some equipment, some fertilizers, it can be good and good because we have I can say that is like a huge market. It's a big market. So when we have partnerships, when we have something like that, expertise to share, it will be very, very good. And
Yeah.
we will
Oh,
we will create a big impact because agriculture in Rwanda is playing a big role where we have like that 34%, and it is giving a job to people up to 70% of Rwandans. In Africa, there is a huge number. Most of them they are human. They are they are human. See, it can create a big impact to their society.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have to talk a lot more. I'm really curious if there's any way that I can help to facilitate any connections over there with any of our partners. We do work with a couple groups who are in Rwanda actually. Some groups they're based in Europe, but they also have business in Rwanda as well. We haven't taken any devices there. I just know that there have been conversations about them trying to take some of the devices that were deployed in the Netherlands actually down to Rwanda as well. It's fascinating. I think there's a lot of opportunity for someone like you to go in and facilitate these new connections between farmers. I'm also, just one thing that came to mind while you were speaking is like, you've probably been listening to the other participants speak about agriculture in Armenia. Have you seen any similarities about like how like the cost of inputs? Like oftentimes in agriculture, the startup costs are really high. Using a tractor for $100 an hour is super cost prohibitive, and it's also probably there aren't that many growers who can own their own tractor. And that's maybe not easy if you're like a new entrant into the place. I often think about like, what are the barriers in each country for young people who want to get involved in farming to do. I've heard of some interesting models where like there's new like cooperatives of groups trying to share farmland equipment. But that would really require, like a lot of expertise and like a lot of refining. It's probably like difficult for a group to buy a bunch of tractors and sort of rent them out at a lower cost or like own them collectively. So yeah, I mean, this was great learning about, and if you want to talk after about, other solutions like that, I'd be happy to. It was awesome. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy as well to meet with you, and I know we shall continue adding on. I think we shall work more. We shall add on it more.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah. Okay, looks like we have another half hour. Yeah, still to go. Yeah, there's a couple people who want to speak up. We can do that. Or, yeah, interested to learn more about what you guys are up to. If no one else wants to share, I'm also down to talk more if anyone has questions. But yeah, I mean, each project's super interesting to me. So I'm, each one's like valuable to hear. So if anyone else wants to share, super open to hearing about it. I think there's, what is it, like 3 or 4 people who haven't shared yet, but you can also just ask questions. I'm here for the next half hour. So yeah, however you guys want to spend the time.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. Hi, I'm Jen.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Both a sharing and a question, maybe. Just a short sharing of our short sharing of our project. I'm Jen from the Philippines. Our team is working on indigenous coffee.
Oh.
And we're trying to, our project, it tries to deal with solving 2 levels of problems, or maybe 3 levels of problems. First is to help indigenous coffee farmers increase their production by using a combination of the traditional knowledge and scientific researches on agriculture, and also inputting machineries into to the production. uh, coffee is an untapped resource actually locally, because farmers just lost the motivation to produce and distribute their production, because the coffee farming is too laborious for for the
Mhm.
locals, especially for women. But
Mhm.
yeah, but with the challenges, environmental challenges today, using BT corn, deforested lands around the community. So it is an opportunity that the local resource should be developed more, or should be brought back to the market, so that they have a more sustainable income. So the first thing is to resolve the problem of increasing the production, motivating local farmers to do more in the coffee production. So uh, we package we package modules, combining the indigenous knowledge and practices to the researches of our agriculture Department of Agriculture, uh, with the local government unit, and then provide them trainings on how to do it, and also inputting machines like pulper, uh, grinder, those things needed. Um, Roads has been addressed, farm to market roads has been addressed by the government a decade ago, but still, hello,
Yeah,
hi,
I can hear you. Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
problem did not it did not solve the problem, because the farmers are left with how to the farmers are left without the technical know-how and financial support. So that farm to market road did not solve the problem. So we are going into this solution of providing the technical know-how and looking for financial support and bringing their product to the market. Yeah. So after that, one of our solution is to bring the product to the market and promote it, and set up set up the proper market, the proper forum, the their access, their access, the access of local farmers to the market, so that they will be able to sell their product directly, with fair prices, and at least they have also a control of that part. Yeah. So our project is, of course, our team is are not entrepreneurs from the beginning. We are
Mhm.
being we are organized. We are uh, social organizers. We are movement organizers.
Yeah.
So for me, for the last 20 years of my life, I've been to farmers organizing, capacity building by building their organizations and providing them leadership training. I have not been into entrepreneurship, so this way. But then, as we go old, we think that maybe this is another way to empower the local farmers. So this is the motivation that gives us to work on this project. So for now, what else should I what else? The next question maybe the next thing maybe is a question. Uh, we are aware that coffee is a global thing. Many are doing their are making business on 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 the coffee, but most of it, like for example Nestle in the Philippines, most of them they are just interested with the produced, or so the the production or the farmer side is not what they call this is not a main consideration.
Yeah.
For example, our Robusta, our main product is Robusta, our indigenous, what do you call this? Robusta is indigenous to our land. So in the past 20 years, Nestle have been getting at least 60% of their products from our coffee farmers. But then until today, our farmers are left unattended. I don't know the proper term, but their production did not grow, their skills, their you know those things. So our project want to deal more on that side, but at the same time, empowering them is also trying to bring their products or trying to market their products to have it directly. So maybe my question is, because it is a global thing and many are going into this, do you think this kind of venture would also be this kind of venture will be interesting to small entrepreneurs like you? Do you think we can get some support like machines like that? I'm not so sure of how to, English is not my first
No, that's
language.
okay. You did great. No, yeah, I think it's really cool that you've been doing this other social work and kind of social activism, and are now seeing there's like a need in the marketplace to actually get involved and create a tool as well. A lot of people don't initially go straight to the startup world, so that's great. I think first of all, like for you, I would say like there's probably so many important partnerships that you guys should look for with other coffee growers around the world. This issue of farmers not getting paid a fair wage for their work and is like especially a problem in the coffee industry from what I've heard. And there have been some aspects to or some, I guess, like schemes to try to remedy that. I don't know if you guys are thinking to do something like fair trade or any of these other certifications that might help create sort of like a higher value end product that would be able to be more marketed to other groups who want to focus on ethical sourcing, for example. So yeah, I mean, I think that if you can find ways to link up with other growers in other countries or other certification bodies or groups that really understand this problem, afterwards, I'd be happy to try to find some resources to share with you.
Okay, that's really welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. So, yeah, like I think it's a super interesting problem that you're working on. I actually was able, one of our we have a few customers who are growing coffee, but they're doing things like it's like they're doing pretty like rogue, not really representative of the rest of the market practices. One grower is actually in California. They're the first people to grow coffee in the continental US. So most of what I know about coffee is like come through talking with them, actually. So yeah, let's connect and let's like try to find some good resources to share around like, how can we like empower the farmers to be, it seems like they need more investment in their skills, and there needs to be more of a focus on, there's multiple angles. It's like ecological stewardship, and it's also efficiency and like being better at, producing more. Yeah, so super interesting project. Did you have any other questions or, maybe I don't know if we want to save time, but there's
I can follow up.
Sure. That sounds great.
Yeah.
No, thanks for sharing that. I haven't had my coffee yet today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you're working in ag tech, there's no way to avoid these like really, yeah, I guess like social impact, the social impact of whatever product you're creating. You're either going to be working on a tool that's going to kind of, in some way, it's going to shape, you know, the social relations of people as well. So it's something to keep in mind. I think that last project really highlighted that. We could probably squeeze in one more story, or
guys, any more questions or like stories, feel free to share your experience with us.
LinkedIn in the bio, in the chat, just in the meantime.
Levon John, in that case, like we can wait a couple of minutes until
Sure.
we don't have any more volunteers, we can wrap up the session. Guys, I think you can share, you can follow Levon on LinkedIn, right? So, and use, in fact, use his network to see who he has connections with, and like enhance your opportunities maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to connect with you. I'm, you know, from my own, yeah, I guess like goals. Like, I'd love to get more involved in agriculture in Armenia at some point too. I was hoping to visit this summer, like I said, but yeah, that didn't work out. So as soon as this whole, you know, pandemic's over, I want to come.
Yes, we will be
visit.
happy to host you at Yerevan when you come, and we'll be happy to see you at our office at FAST.
Yeah.
And also at our partners' offices, because this program is implemented in cooperation with UNDP Armenia and Agrarian University.
Okay.
I think it will be worthwhile for you to see how Armenia has changed in the like past couple of years.
Yeah. I do my best to follow the news and, you know, talk to people I know who have connections there. So yeah, it'd be great to keep the conversation going and visit when I can.
Yes, and once this pandemic is over, like I think that we will have the chance to meet.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Okay.
Right
so
now
I
we're.
think that,
Yeah. Go ahead. No,
sure,
no, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you know, right now we don't have any of our devices deployed in Armenia, and I'd love to get us on the map. So if there's any growers that you guys know about that, you know, are interested in adopting like new technologies, I'd love to be connected with them as well. We have one device or a couple devices in Georgia nearby, but we need to get Armenia on the map with, you know, places where Arable's working as well. So. If anyone has
on that side, our partner from Agrarian University will have more connections. So I can tell him about that, and maybe he can find some partners.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, so given that there are no more volunteers, I think we can wrap up this session. This was a nice opportunity from talking to you, Levon John. And
yeah.
I believe many will will have food for thought after this session.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, it was great meeting you guys and hearing about the stories. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going.
Okay, then have a nice continuation of the day, if that's the day for you.
Yeah, and just getting started out here.
Nice. So have a nice day, and guys, have a nice weekend. We'll meet on Tuesday at our general time.
Okay, bye.